There are some passages in the Bible that can feel, well, almost too familiar. We've heard them so many times, they seem tame. But when you really look closer, you realize they're designed to quietly and completely overthrow our deepest instincts. Today, we're looking at one of the most powerful of these, Romans chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. I appeal to you, therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. See, this passage doesn't just give us a to-do list. It's more like a piece of code meant to fundamentally rewire our entire operating system, how we see reality, how we worship, and even who we think we are. It's a complete reprogramming of the soul. So here's how we're going to break this down. We're going to unpack 5 of the deep truths hidden in here. The shocking paradox at its heart, the reality of who's in charge, what it really means to worship with your body, what a renewed mind actually sees, and, crucially, how grace makes any of it possible. Okay, let's start with the phrase that should just stop us in our tracks: a living sacrifice. It sounds beautiful and poetic, right? But it's actually a collision of 2 completely impossible ideas. I mean, there's a serious tension here, and it's on purpose. Sacrifices, by their very nature, are dead. That's the point. And living things, by their very nature, run away from altars. The Apostle Paul slams these 2 concepts together, and he has a very good reason. Just think about the difference for a second. A dead sacrifice is a one-and-done deal. It's finished. It can't climb down. It can't negotiate for better terms. But a living sacrifice? Oh, that's different. A living sacrifice can choose to get up and walk off the altar at any moment. This isn't a call for one heroic moment of surrender. It's a call to a lifetime of choosing to stay put. And this brings us to the bedrock truth that makes this whole demanding idea make sense. It's not actually about what you do, but about who you belong to. So let's be honest. When you hear this, is your first instinct that this is just another command to try harder, to somehow muster up more willpower for God? That's our default setting, but that's not what's going on here. No, the text isn't trying to get you to change your behavior. It's trying to clarify reality for you. The word present assumes prior ownership. Think about it. You don't present something that's already yours. You present what belongs to someone else. The text is just saying you already belong to God. The only real question is whether your life is reflecting that truth or fighting against it. So here's the key. If this passage feels heavy, it's probably not the weight of guilt or moral pressure. It's the existential discomfort of having our core assumption, my life is my own, exposed. Grace isn't threatening your sense of ownership. It's simply revealing the truth of God's. And this idea of surrender isn't just some abstract concept floating around in your head. It gets radically, uncomfortably physical. The altar we're talking about, it's your body. Worship isn't something you just do with your thoughts on a Sunday morning. It's about how you eat, how you rest, how you walk through suffering, or even how you just endure boredom. It's about your gut reaction when you're under stress. That is where your true allegiance shows up first. You can't just give God your good intentions and keep all your daily habits for yourself. The passage calls this our reasonable worship. And that doesn't mean boring or emotionless. It means worship that fits reality. It's the only logical response. Given who God is and what he's done, anything less than a full life, full body surrender is, frankly, irrational. Radical obedience is an extreme. Refusing to surrender is. So, if the body is the altar, the mind is what keeps it there. And that brings us to that famous contrast between being conformed and being transformed. This is such a psychologically brilliant insight. Notice that being conformed to the world is passive. It's like drifting in a river. You don't have to choose it. You just absorb the culture around you, and it happens. But transformation, that's an active verb. It requires you to intentionally interrupt that drift and actively renew your mind. And right here, this reveals a sequence that we so often get completely backward. We want God to show us his will first, and then we'll decide if we want to obey, right? But the text says the opposite. Surrender first. Allow your mind to be renewed. Only then will you be able to discern what God's will is. Clarity follows consecration, not the other way around. Getting that order right absolutely destroys 2 popular lies. Line number 1, that Christianity is about adding Jesus to your already existing life. Nope, Jesus comes to reclaim your life. And line number 2, that transformation is mainly about avoiding a list of bad things. No, it's so much bigger. It's about your mind being so renewed that you can actually recognize and run toward what is good and acceptable and perfect.
Now, at this point, all of this could feel like an absolutely crushing weight. A life of constant surrender, a rewired mind, physical worship. I mean, how is that even possible? Well, the answer is in the very first words of the passage. By the mercies of God. You have to understand, this whole appeal is not a demand for you to earn something. It's an invitation to live in line with a reality that's already been won for you. Christ already presented his body as the ultimate sacrifice. He already absorbed the judgment. He already fulfilled all obedience and secured the mercy that makes this new way of life even conceivable. So what's really being threatened here? For many of us, the terror in Romans 12 isn't the threat of punishment. The real threat is to our autonomy, our self-rule. That's the one idol we want to keep on the throne.
But here is the profound, quiet promise hidden underneath it all. You don't lose yourself on that altar. You finally find yourself. You finally stop wasting all that energy and time pretending that your life actually belongs to you. And that isn't religious extremism. That is sanity restored.